Good morning, everyone. My name is Jared Neitzel, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the economic truism that is Social Security will provide for my financial needs in retirement. So my first slide describes really what is Social Security. And a basic definition of Social Security is any government system that provides monetary assistance to people with an inadequate or no income. Another thing to talk about is who really qualifies for Social Security benefits. And these three types of qualifications are just very basic qualifications. There's much more in-depth and more intricate qualifications for Social Security benefits. So the first one is retirement. When you turn about 62 years old, you can start qualifying for different Social Security benefits. Usually it's based off of what your wages during the time that you have worked and how many years you put into that job. Another reason that you can qualify for Social Security benefits are if you are disabled. To be qualified, you must work for a job that supplies these type of Social Security benefits. And to be qualified as disabled, you cannot have done the work you've done before. So if you've been injured in a job and you can't keep doing that job, then that would qualify you for Social Security benefits. Also, you can't be able, or you have to be unable to adjust to other types of work. So even if you can't do one specific type of work, if your job company moves you to a different position and you still can't work that position, then you can still qualify. And your disability must have lasted for more than 1 year to even qualify for this benefit. And a big key point about Social Security is that no benefits are payable for partial disability or short-term disability. And another reason you can qualify for Social Security benefits are if you are a survivor. Families can receive benefits if their spouse have died, including wives or children of a deceased parent. And your benefits are based on how much the deceased person's salary was while they lived. So this next slide is going to describe basically the history of how Social Security got started. It was established during the Great Depression, and it was used as a safety net basically for people who were in poverty, because during the 1930s the poverty rate of senior citizens was over 50%. And it was attempted to limit what we're seeing as dangers during that current society, which were old age, unemployment, and the burden of widows and fatherless children. Women and minorities were not considered to receive these benefits because back then employment definitions reflected typical white male categories and not women categories. And changes based on current society were also why Social Security was implemented, and it was based on economic worries and gender roles in the position of minorities. And changes in Social Security have reflected a balance between promoting equality and effort to provide adequate protection. Now I'm going to talk to you about 3 common misconceptions about Social Security. The first one is that Social Security taxes are contributions. This misconception formed around 1935, and it's because of the common misnomer of the Federal Insurance Contribution Act, or FICA. But this is simply not true. Social Security payroll taxes are considered taxes, they're not contributions. Another misconception is Social Security is constitutional, and this is not true because there is no such power or such amendment that has ever been passed giving this type of authority, making Social Security not constitutional. And the last key misconception is that workers only pay 1/2 of Social Security payroll taxes. And some of this does sound true. Workers do pay 6.2% of their earnings, which eventually adds up to the 12.4% payroll taxes. But the 6.2% in mandated benefits, which mandated benefits means benefits that are passed based on the state or federal law, are not free, forcing employers to reduce workers' market-determined salaries on fringe benefits, which would otherwise, the mandated costs would inflict losses on employers, which would cause a greater amount of unemployment. So mandated benefits is simply replace market-determined benefits and or monetary compensation. So this is the real question of this truism. So will Social Security provide for my needs in retirement? And the answer is probably no. Why? A major component of this is the baby boomer era, which was around 1946 to 1964. During this time period, families were having kids from 6 to 7, whereas now we're only having family amounts to 2 to 4. We are currently in a baby bust, so we are not having as many kids currently in society, so our population is going down. And because of the baby boomers eras, they're going to be starting to claim for Social Security in the next few years. So because of this, too many people will be starting to claim Social Security at once. And because of this, our generation, when we go into the workforce, will have to start paying into their Social Security like how every generation has done before. But because of how many people in that generation, we're going to be very strained because we're going to have to produce a lot of money to pay for all of these people who are starting to claim for their benefits. So Social Security will be severely depleted by the time we claim for our benefits because they'll take so much of the money already invested in Social Security. When we enter Social Security, we won't have as much based on the current population at the time. And this is just a little economic cartoon that helps explain Social Security and how it probably won't help us in the end. So as you can see, the baby boomers are represented by this obese man, while Social Security is represented by this tiny, small man. And as you can see, they're doing like an acrobatics act. And you can see Social Security is kind of the safety net in this cartoon because the man is jumping towards Social Security, so Social Security can catch him as he's falling. But as this shows, the man's very heavy, it seems. So when Social Security does catch him, Social Security is not going to be able to support the man, and they're both going to fall together, which is why Social Security won't be lasting for our retirement. And in conclusion, Social Security is not abundant to last forever. We're going to have to make sure that we have a stable foundation by the time we hit retirement, so have a lot of funds saved up throughout our working time and not just rely on Social Security like so many people do now. And Social Security was not originally meant to support everyone's problems. Now people are claiming on issues that are not as problematic, which leaves us with no money to live a healthy retirement. And then these are just some of the works I did.
Questions for Mr. Neitzel? Mr. Neitzel, what are some of the alternatives for your generation if Social Security is not going to be there to support you?
Well, I guess one alternative is that we save our money instead of relying on Social Security, like our own personal problems. I think there are some other government programs that will help us instead of Social Security. I don't know if Medicaid and Medicare are under that, but they're just some of the benefits that we can take for, hopefully if they're still in, I guess, the law or the Congress, that we still have them. But I think basically we're just going to have to be more independent on our own funds and work harder to help you guys when you get in retirement.
So having thoroughly researched Social Security, what is your advice to your classmates?
Go to college and get a really good job and make a lot of money, so when you need it later on, you can spend it instead of not having anything at all.
Thank you.